We are back here with the men's Olympic recurve division. They're just doing their warm-up rounds real quick before we get started. Got a couple practice shots in.
Practicing, so they'll shoot more if they want to. They may take advantage of the full 3 or 2 minute clock. Five, four, okay. And we're clear. All right, so we'll start talking to the archers here. This is men's Olympic recurve. So Doug, I think everybody noticed right away you're shooting with the mouth tab or chew strap, right? So explain that, why it's happening that way, and what you're doing about it.
Yep, so I got hurt in the military and lost use of my arm for almost a year. So when I regained it, I took up archery recently, about almost 2 years ago, and so I used the mouth tab because I can't pull back a bow. It's just a simple dog leash. I go ahead and stitch it up, cut it to where about 1.5 inches long, let it rip.
Yep. And so that's completely legal in compound and in recurve. It's probably a little harder to do in recurve because you have full resistance. What poundage are you shooting?
Right now I'm shooting 34-pound limbs.
So you're holding 34 pounds of pull between your jaw before you shoot. So that's, right. You know, I can imagine that would pull my teeth out.
Right, it's pretty rough with no lid off. So, right. But it's all good though.
All right. All right, second, practicing. When I say completely legal in the sport, you obviously have to submit the paperwork for it to have that provision. So that you will be able to do that. So I know he's shooting to be on the Paralympic team as well. He's done a lot of military shoots, and that's really driven him. So he's traveled around the nation this year, particularly to get to shoot a lot of these Wounded Warrior events and a lot of different events that support disabled veterans. So that's a pretty cool thing. It doesn't limit. I know he was doing something that was involving swimming, a multitude of events, swimming, archery, and so on, and he excelled at swimming and the archery side. So they're shooting their second warm-up in right now. We'll talk to Daya in just a minute. He's looks like he shoots out of the knock point, which is just above Seattle. They push a lot of Olympic-style recurves shooters from up there. So they are a farm up there for Olympic recurve shooters. It draws a certain crowd, and we love seeing that. And we have a shop down in the Vancouver Trout area, and that draws a lot of barebow shooters. So that community and that niche, you want to find people that shoot the same genre as you and shoot as much as you can with and against them so that you can excel at the sport. So when you have a good program in place like the Knock Point does for that, then you're going to draw more and more shooters to do that. All right. So Daya is talking to his coach for a second. So Daya, you shoot up at the knock point, looks like?
Yes, I do.
All right, so they're a factory farm up there for pushing out Olympic recurve shooters. We were just talking about that. So you want to find a ton of people that are shooting the same genre, shoot with them and against them all the time. You guys, we love you coming down here and shooting. So what are you shooting here?
I'm shooting, just give me a minute. It's a Hoyt Exceed with the integral limbs, and I'm shooting 40 pounds right now.
40 pounds at the
Yeah.
click, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, good luck. This will be your first scoring in, gentlemen. And Daya, you said you were gonna shoot first? Okay, so just look over at the score clock when you wanna start that. It'll give you a 10-second window. Once that starts the 30-second clock, feel free. Yeah, yeah. Just give her a nod, because sometimes you might look at her, but she needs that nod. All right, this will be 3 ends, arrow for arrow. So both participants can have arrows knocked, but they have to alternate shooting in their time, a lot of time. So Daya, this is shooting Olympic recurve, shoots a 10 on his first shot. That's a great shot. Doug shoots an 8 on his first shot. And if you notice, their arrows are quite a bit smaller. You cannot get a big arrow to fly correctly when you shoot with fingers. So they have to shoot the exact appropriate spawned arrow with the right deflection so that it will fly the best possible, because when they shoot with fingers, there's a lot more archer's paradox when you do that. So the guy has shot a 9 for his second arrow. Doug let that one get away from him, so Doug shot, it looks like it's a 6. Looks like he dropped his arm on that one. Nice thing about this being live is he'll go back and review that, and he'll see exactly what caused that if he didn't already know. And then Guy is capitalizing on that. He shot a 10 for his last arrow. All right, so Doug shot a 9 on his last arrow for his score too. So he got that one got away, but that's all right. So when you shoot Olympic recurve, you're shooting a machined riser or a carbon riser generally, and it can take an ILF limb, which is an international limb fitting. So it's a standardized limb across the world. So you can shoot an American-made riser with European limbs or with Korean limbs, and it won't matter how you put the bow together as long as you build it the way you want. So the limbs come in different lengths. Tell us about how you've set your bow up.
So I've set mine up with a Hoyt riser, Arcos, and then Win and Win limbs.
Okay.
Is the way I went.
And then you're shooting medium or long limbs?
I'm shooting medium limbs.
Medium limbs, all right. So they make a short, medium, and long limb that changes the overall length of the bow. It causes the limbs to perform different when you do that, even at the same poundage. Is this your outdoor setup as well?
Yes, this is my outdoor, and I'm currently building an indoor too, so I can have one for each.
Gotcha. And so we're talking about you both have to have an arrow that's just going to fly right shooting fingers. You can't just go shoot anything like a compound shooter can and shoot those big fat arrows that just won't fly. So we'll talk about your arrows on the next end, but I pointed out how small these arrows were because you're shooting typically long distance outside, shooting fingers. There's a lot more things that can go wrong faster. So I see the arrows that you're shooting, we'll go over that. So after the first end, we're looking at 29 to 23, Gaia has a lead. Yeah, can you make sure that we... Another print. We want another set on that side. 9, just off about a 1/4 inch from the 10 line. And if you notice, Doug's shooting a single spot to Guy is a 3 spot. It's just a preference. It's not going to change anything. And Doug shot a 9 on his first one. It won't change the score. It just lets the single spot sometimes is easier to aim at, but Gaia might not like that. That's right on the 10 line for Gaia, so that's too close to call from here. If it was a fat arrow, for sure it would have been a 10, but that's an X10. So that X10 is a tiny diameter arrow. That's probably about a 15/64 of an inch diameter. You know, it's under 4 millimeters. So 8 for Doug's second shot. And Gaia's last shot is a solid 10. So he'll extend his lead on Doug. And that's a great group that he shot. Doug shot a 9 on his last in. All right. All right, so let's talk about the arrows real quick. So, Guy, I see you're shooting X10s on yours. That's a sub 4 millimeter arrow at its biggest diameter. So it's barreled. So you're not getting the full advantage unless it goes halfway. So you have an arrow that's close to the 10 line. If it was almost any other diameter, it would have caught the 10. So pull that arrow out and let's take a look at it. So even at the fattest part, that's about 4 millimeters. So your arrow's penetrating about 10 inches. So you're still looking at about 3.5 millimeters. That's not a big scoring advantage, but it's a great flying arrow. So what spine are you shooting?
I'm shooting a 450 spine.
450?
Yeah.
And so and the length of it and the tip weight?
The length of it is 33 inches, and the tip is 120 grains.
And are you shooting tungsten on there?
Tungsten,
yes. Yeah, looks like it. When you get those short little points like that, you can tell those are tungsten. So those are about $300 a dozen for the tips alone, and about $400 a dozen for the shafts alone. So you got about $1,000 in arrows pretty much at any given time.
Oh yeah, it is costly.
Yeah, right. But we do what we love. So those are one of the most expensive arrows on the market. It's what he's shooting. Most of the Olympic recurves nationwide are sponsored by Easton. Not all, but multiple nations are sponsored by Easton for the Olympics because they've built and patented one of the best flying arrows out there. Now Doug's shooting, it looks like he's shooting a deep impact from Black Eagle, which is a 4 millimeter arrow too, and that's a great flying arrow as well. So makes it quite a bit more affordable, so there's probably about a $600 or $700 difference between the two sets. And the rest is just skill in archery. So Guy's first arrow is an 8. That's really close to the 11 line for Doug, so that can help him out quite a bit. So if that happened to catch an 11 to the Guy's 8, then that'll swing back 3 points in Doug's favor. Second arrow for Gaia is his own 11, right on the 11 line, so that's going to force Doug to have to close up with that as well. Doug shoots a 7. And that is off the paper for Gaia, so that's going to score a 0. So that's an 11-point swing on that one shot. So that's going to be impossible to do the math in my head standing back here. But Doug finished with a strong 9. All right. Good shooting. All right, so Doug, how you feeling? I see you're touching your jaw.
I had a bad arrow yesterday, and rattled my brain. My jaw was all swollen last night.
You got caught
so
on a stitch or something, right?
Got caught something. Yeah,
Yep.
it happens every now and then. Not very often, but
Right, and then it affects you. Did you shoot? What did you score when you shot that? Did you shoot a miss?
I shot a 0.
Shot a 0 just for the same thing. So the same thing, it looks like, just happened. What happened on that shot that got away from you?
Yeah, I just was feeling nervous, and I wasn't prepared to release, but it was okay.
Yep. Well, and I'll tell you, that makes this that much harder. You know, you're shooting that poundage, you're shooting with fingers, and if it was a release and a compound bow, that might have been a 9. But with fingers, that arrow just flies way off track, and that's why it's so important to have such good equipment to begin with. So, hate that happened to you. It sounded like it happened to Doug during the qualifying round yesterday too, and we don't know what's going to happen to the score here, so we'll see. They're down there looking at Doug's now. Looks like they got Gaia's situated. Gaia had a pretty good lead, but with that miss, that was automatically dropping 11 points. And Doug followed that up with a 9, so he took a 9-point advantage at that point. So I'm not sure how far they were when it came to that. So we know Gaia shot a 77 out of 99 for his 3 ends. They're verifying that score, and they got a close arrow. Hate to see one get away from an archer, but I can tell you, if you're shooting fingers, it's going to get away further. So it's just a difficult situation. So people that shoot bare bow, the same thing happens as well. So we appreciate you. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that right now. Hopefully this is encouraging you to get out to your local shops and shoot some leagues and find some tournaments to go shoot at too. So we do this classic every year. It's growing more and more. We've had over 200 shooters shoot this weekend, and we're down to the final 4 in each division. And we're doing the shoot up format. It's what we're doing. So 4th place shoots against 3rd place, the winner shoots against 2nd, and the winner shoots against 3rd. So that could take anyone from 4th to 1st place if they have the skill to do that. So with everything being settled, Gaia.
We got a plan.
Was that the last in? Was that the 3rd in? This is the final in. All right. With the final, Gaia held on with a 77 to 75. Yeah. Congratulations. All right, so we'll pull the next archer up. Good shooting, Doug. And next archer coming up, let's see who we got. Jet. Come on up, Jet. You're going to shoot left or right? All right, so he's going to bump Gaia off that. So they must shoot together. So Gaia probably knew the drill. He probably knew it was coming. Jet's going to... Jet was seated 2nd, so are you going to shoot 1st or 2nd?
I'll shoot 1st.
Okay, so Jet will shoot 1st. So when you're ready, you're going to look over at the timer table and just give a head nod so she can start that clock, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. This is going to be for score. Jed's first arrow. He's shaking his head like he didn't like it. It looked like he may have shot through his clicker. So Jed's first arrow that he shot was, it looks like it might have caught the four-ring, so it wouldn't surprise Jed. And Guy has shot a 7 for his first arrow. All right, looks like Jed's on track now. He shot a 10. $10 for Gaia. And that's hidden, but I think it's a 10 for his Jed's third arrow. Another arrow's covering it up, so I don't think it hit the 11. I think it's a solid 10. Gaia's last arrow is a 7. All right, so let's talk to him and see. All right. All right, so Jed, I saw you shaking your head after that first one. Did it shoot through the click? Or?
No, I got through the clicker. My shoulder just popped right before it clicked in my whole bow. Yeah.
Gotcha. I saw you shaking your head. I think you knew what happened
Yeah.
immediately. So, all right, what equipment are you shooting?
I'm shooting a Hoyt XD, 32-pound axial limbs, ramrod stabilizers. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so on this, you notice that the archers cannot use a peep when they're shooting, so they have to look beside the string. So they can use a sight, they can adjust and move the sight how they want. It can have an aperture with a pin in it, but it can't have any magnification on it. There's some specific rules on what they can do and how their equipment has to be set up. So that makes it that much harder, because an anchor point is so important when you're shooting any bow, but when you start shooting fingers with no peep and you can't use look through the string and see the sight, there's some inconsistencies that pop up in a person's posture and form. So them shooting the way that they're shooting is impressive. It's all tied up after the first end. 24-24, so they got 6 arrows to prove who wants it more today. Looks like a good solid 9 for Jed. Same for Gaia. Another 9 for Jed. 6 for Gaia. So the disadvantage of shooting a 3 spot, if Gaia was shooting a single spot on that last end, he would have not shot a miss. He would have shot a 5 or a 4. He would have still had scoring rings there. But when you get over there past that 6 ring, there's nothing left but 0. So that's the chance you take when you shoot that. So Jed's last arrow was a 7 and followed by an 8 for Gaia. All right, let's put it together for him. They're talking to their coaches, getting some instruction, figuring what adjustments they need to do. So if they want to make side adjustments, they can't just a finger pressure thing. They're just walking through what's causing, good shots to go good and where they go, and working on their process and talking through that. Follow through is really important when you're shooting fingers as well, especially when you're pulling Olympic recurve. They all have a click, so when the tip of the arrow goes a certain point, there's a little blade or a piece of carbon that slaps the side of the riser on a strike plate that makes an audible noise, but more so the archer can feel that if they're shooting the bow, and it tells them that they've got the arrow in the same position they had it at the last shot, and they can shoot. So they're trained to let that thing go when it clicks 99% of the time, and so if it's not right, they'll let down and re-go through the process. But That click says, hey, everything's where you said you wanted it, so let it go. First shot for Jed is at 9. Gaia, 9. Jet slapped his arrow, deflected a little bit, but still caught a 9. That's right on the 7-8 line. It looks like it could have caught an 8, but the judges will tell when they go down there. Last arrow's a 9, so all 3 9s for Jet. And finishing with a strong 11 for Gaia. All right. All right. We'll see. I don't know what the everything. There's a couple of close arrows down there for you Gaia, so we'll see what happens here in just a second. Nerves settling? A little bit? Yeah. Jet, how about you? Feeling pretty good about it right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
My goal coming into this really was to be able to shoot against Christian.
Oh yeah. Well.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. You'll get to in just a second. We'll see. So it looks like the final is a 76 to 74. So you're going to get your wish and get to shoot against the number 1 seed there. So thanks, Gaia, very much. All right, Christian's going to come up on deck. Christian, are you going to take left or right? Right side. All right. They'll get you targets hung up, and then you shooting a 3. Are you shooting a 3 spot or single?
Single spot still.
Hey, Hunter, he's staying with the single spot. And Christian, you're shooting a 3 spot? Yep. Are you going to shoot first or second? Okay. All right. So Christian is the number 1 seed in men's Olympic recurve. He's chose to shoot first, and he's shooting on right side. So when you're ready, just look at the timer table and give a head nod, and they'll start the clock. There'll be a 10-second countdown, and then your time will start. Both archers shoot out the knock point. Sounds like they shoot together and against each other frequently. First arrow for Christensen is a 9, tall out the top a little bit. Same thing for Jet. His is at 10 o'clock 9. Christensen is an 8. Jet's gonna try to capitalize on that. So not sure when they're competing. Oh, I don't think he took advantage. That is on the 8-7 line. That looks like, because of the diameter of the arrow, that could be a 7. All right, Christensen caught a 10. And I cannot see the lay of the third arrow there. It's in the red. I can't tell if it's an 8 or a 7 for Jets. All right, let's put it together for men's Olympic recurve. All right. So Jet said his goal when he got here was to try to shoot against you in the finals. So here you are in the finals. I don't know how this is going to come out. There's a couple of close arrows down there. It sounds like you guys shoot together often and shoot against each other. Who's usually on top?
Usually I am, yeah.
So that's his goal, right? So he's seeking after you, right? So he's going to try to knock you off the podium, so to speak.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
main goal is to defend my title from last year.
Oh, yeah, so the same thing happened last year, too?
With Doug, yeah.
With Doug, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right. So, so you won this event last year. That's good. And so if you can do that, that'd be a twofer. That'd be something to notch on the belt, I guess, right?
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so Jet, you got your wish. You're going for it. You think you got what it takes today?
I hope so.
All right.
We'll find out in about 2 ends.
Yeah, 2 more ends and we'll know for sure. So 27-23, Christensen. Christensen's first arrow is a 9. Jet let down. He's got 10 seconds left. So full draw again. Shot an 8 for his first arrow. So that's 1 more point to Christensen's favor. 9 for Christensen. Christensen, our Jet down to 10 seconds again. He's at full draw. Shot a 9. Christensen's last arrow is going to be a 10. It's going to help him, help his confidence out. He's going to extend his lead a little bit from what he just had against Jet. Jet's down to that last 10 seconds at full draw again. Looks like that's on the 7-6 line. So that will extend his lead just a little bit more. So they're looking at the coaches right now and seeing what they need to do. Making sure. So you're feeling how you shake. So you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I just need to maintain the gap I have, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that extended the lead a little bit on that. So let's go over some of the things you're using here. So what's your setup?
Same thing as last year, Formula XD, 45.5-pound Velos lens, and a mix and match of ramrods and shrewd stabilizers with a Shibuya, yeah, Ultima sight, yeah.
Gotcha. And then you got an aperture with a up pin in it, a green up pin, 19 thousandths.
I think so, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
it
really,
looks
honestly don't
looks like 19 thousandths, but that's helps you center the target a little bit, and then put that pin right where you want to shoot.
This
So
is mainly my outdoor setup. I didn't really change it for indoor at all because outdoor is my main game, but it's working, yeah.
yeah. I mean, when you got to have a great outdoor setup if you're shooting Olympic recurve, and so since you already had a setup, bringing it in here, is it going to change anything much about it other than you shoot a smaller arrow than you might shoot indoors if you had an indoor bow?
Yeah.
All right, so you did extend that lead, so it's 55-47. Good luck on that last in. First shot is an 8 for Christensen. Jet shot a 9. Gained a point back there. It would take something happening to Christensen's process shooting a miss now for Jet to come back, and shot a 9 there. But this on the Olympic recurve experience does play too, so anything could happen. So 8 for Jet's second arrow. And 10 for Christensen's last arrow. Jet's going to finish off with a 9-8 liner. Looks like it might have got a 9. And congratulations to them. All right, congratulations, gentlemen. I think that's going to finish that up. So, Christensen, good shooting. Jet, good shooting, making it this far. I appreciate you guys coming out. The Olympic recurve, the first year we did this shoot, we had 0 men Olympic recurve. Bala, and I think you guys all know Bala, right? Yeah. Bala's up in your area. She came down and she shot against all the women compound, and she said, I didn't even know this existed. And I was like, hey, we're trying to grow it. Can you get some Olympic recurve shooters down here? And every year, more and more of you have shown up. So we really appreciate that. And you just keep bringing everybody, because it's going to keep widening that field and raising that check, right? And it's great practice before. Do you get to go to Lancaster or anything?
I'm going to Lancaster, going to Vegas.
Going to Vegas? Okay. So that's where hopefully the help pay off a little bit. So it finishes up with 82-73, Christensen.